The only other part of this game, it's really a very simple blackjack game. So the only other part of this game is figuring out what choices to offer the user. They basically only have two choices, hit or hold. And they don't even get those choices unless they can hit or hold. So they have to have less than 21. If they have exactly 21 after they hit, then we tell them that they should hold, and we don't give them a chance to hit again. If they hold, then assuming that the dealer does not already have 21, and of course the dealer wouldn't at this point, the dealer may have 20. If they have 20, they're over 17, so they display their cards. If the dealer has under 17, then the dealer must keep hitting, has to keep hitting until they reach 17 or until they bust. 17 or greater, less than 21, or busted. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to set up two switch case blocks. One in case the player hits. And let's see, another one way down here in case the player holds. We've already talked about switch case blocks. We just check to see which button the player clicked, and if it's hit, they go to this block. If it's hold, they go to the other block. So if they're going to hit, the first thing we're going to do is deal them another card. And we're going to calculate their score. If they have more than 21, we're going to check to see if they have any 11s. Remember, 1 is equal to 11 or 1. If they do, we're going to stop at the first one, and we're going to set the value for that, which is in this array player hand. Remember, we're keeping our values in there and our images in array player hand images. We're going to use this to designate which one we stopped at, and we're going to set it equal to 1. Then we're going to recalculate the hand. There we go. And we basically just go through the entire hand, add up every card in the hand, add up every value in the hand, and then we're going to check again to see if they're over 21. If they're over 21, they lose, they busted. Of course, if they lose, we're going to set the session timed out value so that it won't hold automatically. Going to declare the game over. You busted, game over. And we're going to record it in the database. And we're going to make the hit and hold buttons invisible. And we're going to show the play again button. And then we're going to go back to our game and play page. However, if the player's hand equals 21, if it's exactly equal to 21, well, they haven't lost, but they can't hit. So you have 21, please hold. And as it says up here, we're removing the hit button so that they can't hit by accident. I hit. People do that sometimes. They make mistakes. So you got to try to keep them from making mistakes. Now, if they're under 21, maybe they have 20, maybe they have 19. If they want to, they can still hit. Can't keep them from doing that. So basically, each time they hit, they get those choices. Either they busted, or they're stuck on 21, or they can hit again. That's all the choices they have there. So that can just repeat and repeat and repeat up until they get 10 cards, and that's the end of that. Now, if they hold, whatever score they have, even if they have 4, suppose they held with 2 and 2, they think the dealer's going to bust. It's possible, maybe the dealer will bust. So our first move then is to calculate the dealer's score. And if the dealer has less than 17, we can loop through for up to 8 more cards. The dealer already has 2 and can't have more than 10. So we loop through each time adding another card, and we do that by stopping at the first card that's not visible. We add another card, and when we deal a card, of course, we're still using the same code, the same methodology to deal the cards and increment next card to deal by 1. Then we check to see if the dealer is over 17, and we do that in the exact same way as we calculated the score for the player hand. But now we're using dealer hand. Okay, there we go. Now we figured out what score the dealer has. If they're less than or equal to 17, we're going to check to see if they have any cards that are 11s. If they do, we're going to use the exact same methodology. to stop at the first 1, well, the first 11. It's a 1, but it has a value of 11. I'm going to set that value to 1. And then we're going to have to recalculate their hand, see what their score is again, and then go through the process again. If they're above 17, assuming that they're still below 21, then basically if they're over 21, the dealer loses. If they're under 21 but above 17, they have to stop, and then we just basically check to see whether or not the player has won. If the player's score is higher than theirs, the player's won. If not, the dealer wins. And as you can see, there's quite a few blocks here that play out all these scenarios. And each time, of course, we time them out so that they can't automatically hold. If the game timed out for them, then we may give them this message because the game submitted a hold for them and then the dealer won. And let's see, any other scenarios in here? Nope. Pretty much the same. Each one of these scenarios goes through a very similar process. And it just checks the scores, checks the dealer's scores, check the player's scores, see who won or lost, or if they pushed. As you can see right here, in some cases it's going to be a push. If it's a push, or if they won or if they lost. In any case, we show the play again button, and we make the hit and the hold buttons invisible. It's pretty straightforward. It looks like a lot of code, but if you read through it and look for each individual scenario, you'll see that each possible outcome is accounted for. It's very simple in this case. We can do this almost without any additional diagrammatic work to try to map out all the outcomes, because there's really only a few. Now, if we had thousands of possible outcomes, then we'd definitely need to draw a diagram so we'd make sure we weren't missing out on any possible outcomes. Well, that's about it. Now, next, what I'm going to do is walk you through playing the game a couple of times and try to show you a few of the scenarios.